Hi, and welcome to the Rise Up and Roar podcast with Carrie Hurley. Is life chaotic and overwhelming? Do intrusive thoughts interrupt your day? Do you long for the abundant life that Jesus came to give you? Then, sister, you're in the right place. Here on the Rise Up and Roar podcast, we help you overcome overwhelm, navigate the negative, and redeem the courageous life that God has called you to live. My dear, you are powerful for the kingdom of heaven and dangerous to the system of darkness. It's time to rise up into your power, privilege, and place as a daughter of the King. Come, join me on today's episode. Hello, I am Carrie Hurley, your host, and I am delighted that you are joining me today for this episode of the Rise Up and Roar podcast. Now, it is Friday, and normally I would have a guest on, but this week I had the privilege of publishing an article in the As For Me in My House magazine, and it's a parenting article. It is called In the Trenches with Your Teen, and I'd like to share it with you now. What do I do that makes you feel loved? What else can I do to help you feel loved? I asked these questions of my daughter as we drove down the highway on another errand. As the middle child and the only extrovert in the family, her sense of feeling unseen and unheard and unimportant is heightened beyond my other kiddos. And really, simply being human puts us all in that category, right? We all desire to be seen and heard and loved and to feel important. And we each have our own unique things that make us feel loved. Gary Chapman's book on the 5 love languages has been pivotal for increasing my success in showing my kids love in a way that they get. Have you read it? I highly recommend it. My love language is acts of service. I receive love that way. And it's easiest for me to give love that way. But to my kiddo who has the physical touch love language, it doesn't mean much for her if I bring her a drink or pick up a gift for her or brag on her. She flourishes, though, when she gets lots of hugs and can lounge on me as we chat or watch TV together. If I did that for one of my other kiddos, though, she would be totally irritated. We have to know our kids and take the initiative to learn and practice what makes them feel loved. We parents are supposed to be the front line for our kids, protecting them, training them up in the way they should go. But particularly when they get to be teens, it gets really challenging. There's so many more influences in their lives, and they're trying very hard to figure out their place in the world. The enemy is a liar, and he wants each of our children to feel unseen and unheard and unimportant and unloved. He uses media, their peers, culture, and that little voice in their head to reinforce those lies. When they believe those lies, they are set up to make poor choices in their lives that can lead to sin and regrets and have them believing even more lies about themselves. So, what do we do in the face of all the other pressures? And I've got 3 things you can do here. 1, we must be fervently praying for our kids and their friends. I don't do this nearly as much as I should. Granted, it feels like a 24/7 requirement. Something that helps is praying scripture over them. I always know that I'm praying God's will over them when I'm praying scripture. To help me do that, I created a prayer journal filled with scripture and power-packed prayers for my teens. I have 3 teens, a 17-year-old son, 13 and 15-year-old daughters, and a 9-year-old tween daughter. I am right there in the trenches with you, and I need all the brain power that I can get. Having this prayer guide puts it on paper so I don't have to keep it in my head. Would you like to use my journal too? You can get my free power-packed scripture-based prayers for my teen when you click on the link down in the when you click on the link in the description notes. It'll give you guidance as you pray, and it has places for you to write out your own personal prayers for your teen. 2, we need to be demonstrating love to them in a way that they get. I have used the 5 love languages test with my kiddos, and it was so helpful for all of us. If you use it, though, have everyone take the kids test. The others all get into romantic love, which is a little weird for families. But we were able to have a family discussion about how each one of us, parents included, best feels loved. And we now make a concerted effort to demonstrate love to each other in those ways. And 3, We need other parents who are also in the trenches. The enemy wants us isolated and to think that we are the only ones who are dealing with whatever issues with our kids. Anyone else have a teenage boy who only hears part of what they say, or is it only me? So, to give you that space and to share what the Lord has been teaching me over 15 combined years of teens, I'm hosting a Reconnect with Your Teen workshop on March 9th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. God has given us a huge mandate for raising our kiddos to know Him and to walk in His ways. We are only responsible for how we do things. So I equip Christian mamas to redeem the courageous life that God has called each of us to live. And part of doing that is influencing our relationship with our children. So if you want to reconnect or strengthen your relationship with your teen, if you want to have a relationship where your teens want to spend time with you now and when they're adults, if you want to connect with other parents who are in the trenches, click the link in the description to join me at this workshop. A final encouragement. God gave you your children for such a time as this. He is equipping you to be the parent that He has created you to be. Every stage and season brings new challenges, but it also brings new joys, and you are not left all on your own. Let's come together and tap into His equipping. Let me remind you that you are powerful for the kingdom of heaven, and you are dangerous to the system of darkness. It is time for you to rise up and roar in your power, place, privilege, rights, and responsibilities as a daughter of the King and a parent to a child of the King. Be blessed, my friend. All right, my dear, that's going to do it for this episode of the Rise Up and Roar podcast, where we help Christian women overcome overwhelm, navigate the negative, and redeem the courageous life that God has called each of us to live. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Grab my free resources on my website and follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Carrie Hurley. Have a great day.